Meryl Streep versus the Marvel. If any of you saw The Devil Wears Prada 2. Anyone?
Straight.
Nope.
Anyone?
I saw it.
Alan, you have to see it. Steph, you didn't watch it?
No.
You're a girl. Isn't this amazing?
I
feel like you get
Barbie, this.
Well, it made almost $250 million over the weekend.
I'll say the international is insane.
Well, I mean, she could have did a crossover with Marvel, right? Like Daredevil wears Prada.
well, here we go. This is Meryl Streep on some interview, and she talks about Marvel movies. What does she have to say?
A realistic view. I think when we tend to marvelize the movies now. We got the villains, we got the good guys, and it's so boring. And what's really interesting about life is that some of the heroes are flawed and some of the villains are
shades of gray.
So tired. Interesting in their own and have their own strengths.
She's gonna love Supergirl.
So that's what I like about this one. It's
what if the villain was really the good guy and the good guy was really the
Do you know what
villain?
me and my sister were saying when we watched it because we're huge fans.
Anyways, this
I do like that, but they did it with every single fucking villain, and it ruins it. It's fine. Like that's like the great thing about Maul. Actually, is he's no longer a Sith, but he's not good. He's got kind of his own thing going on, and it's interesting. But when you do it with every, and we're gonna get it with Doom too, where he's a sympathetic villain. Like people just want good and evil again. Yeah. Clear lines. Like that's why I'm looking forward to He-Man, because Skeletor is just gonna be fucking evil.
Well, the High Evolutionary was a pure villain, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He was.
Who made that one?
Mr. Jimmy Gunn. Mr. Jimmy Gunn. And then he made Superman, where Lex is sympathetic. And
what do we think about this Meryl Streep taking a shot at Marvel movies? I mean, it seems like a kind of, low hanging
what
fruit.
Scorsese said, basically, right? Scorsese that it's a fucking theme park. It's a theme park ride of a movie.
I can't stand how so many of these like mainstream films just can't take themselves seriously at all. That's what annoys me more than anything else. And at first I thought DC was going to be in the right direction, but no. And yeah, that was false hope. But I love serious stories where, characters are respected, they're not humiliated, important moments aren't unearthed by silly, ridiculous jokes left and right. And really, that hasn't changed. We still got it. It's all over the place. I'd be curious. It doesn't sound like this movie is filled with that kind of crap. So I guess that's good. But I don't know. I'd much rather just watch something that, isn't considered mainstream anymore, because all the mainstream films have those fallacies.
But also, doesn't she play the villain in The Devil Wears Prada?
She does, and I think that's why she's saying that, like, some villains are messy, because they're flawed, but they're also human. They have their own and they have their own strengths.
So that's the reason.
She is the villain in the movie, but she's just messy, and that's why she's saying that, because she does play a villain. And it's funny that she says that, because that's one of the criticisms that people have about Disney villains right now, is that they're trying to humanize them. They're trying to make them more relatable, and people don't like that. People want those, black and white, good and evil villains and hero type movies. And by making them, what does she say? Making them human, interesting, and with their own strengths, and, not necessarily like just a villain, but humanizing them, it's a very feminine way of looking at things, because we do like those heroes and villains, that black and white, good and evil type things. We don't like humanizing our villains, sympathizing with the villains. That's not what people like anymore.
That's where horror gets it right too. I mean, I can't think of the last horror movie I watched where the villain had like, some good in them, or, he could be turned. Like, that's where they're getting it right. And people are flocking to see horror. So, I mean, come on, there's the data, people.
Well, and it's a misunderstanding of the whole, like, most villains think they're the hero of the story and don't think what they're doing is wrong, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're sympathetic. It just means they have a different view on it.
Yeah, it's like when they're trying to retcon Killmonger now to be, he wasn't really a villain. It's like, no, Killmonger was a fucking villain.
He didn't want to start a race war and have the blacks take over everyone, basically, with technology, which is exactly what he wanted, literally.
Look, you can have a villain that makes some good points. It doesn't mean they're not a villain. They're still a villain. They're still the bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Thanos, right? I mean, he was the villain. He was the bad guy. But you can see his point. And I do support his point.
I feel like it's easy too, right? Just give us a villain that's, straight up evil and show the villain doing evil, awful things, right? And it's easy to root for the heroes now. You know what I mean? If you have like every time you have the villain and he's like in the middle, it's not as much of a drive to watch the hero succeed because you're kind of stuck in the middle with the villain because he's not actually that bad. So do I really want him to lose? He actually makes some good points here. It's very strange.
That's why we had Vader and the Emperor. One
straight up evil,
did evil things, but did think, at least for a while there, that he was doing the right thing and had his reasons, but there was good inside of him. And you show the example of redemption can happen. And then Sidious is just pure fucking evil. He's just pure evil. There's no redemption in him whatsoever.